Good rabbit hole, Vietnam. Well, that's what Robin Williams would be saying if he was hosting this episode of Here's Your Next Rabbit Hole. Instead, you have me, your mate from down under, Southern Joe. This episode will be asking the ungoogleable questions about the 1988 movie Good Morning Vietnam. This is the movie that's loosely based on the very popular Armed Forces radio DJ Adrian Cronauer, who's played by Robin Williams, and his tour of radio duty in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. I say loosely based because if you see this video from the real Adrian Cronauer, he describes the differences between the movie and the real story of what happened when he was a DJ in Vietnam on Armed Forces Radio. There'll be a link to the clip in the description because it is very interesting. But this episode is all about the ungoogleable questions.
Here's your next rabbit hole. There's unanswered questions about films and TV shows. Please answer in the comments section below. Like, subscribe, and let that notification bell toll. Here's your next rabbit hole.
All right, first question is this. A general who's in charge of Armed Forces Radio has pulled rank and gotten Cronauer transferred from Crete to Saigon. Yet Sergeant Major Dickinson, who's only in charge of the station, says it's his butt on the line. Does this mean that the general avoids any flack? Surely the general would cop it from the higher-ups if there was anything going wrong with Cronauer. Let me know what you think. Now, the general tells Adrian that if he has any problems to see him, because, as he says, he's the tallest hog in the trough. But does the general actually help him? Also, if the general is there to help Adrian, why is Adrian so intimidated by Dickinson? As well as this, does anybody else find it ironic that when Dickinson calls out what Cronauer is wearing, which is what Adrian described as Cretan camouflage, he just come from Crete, Adrian continues to wear it in Saigon, where it makes him stand out even more, and it's no longer camouflage. Then Dickinson says to Adrian, okay, you've got your cushy jobs, but aren't all radio jobs cushy when compared to a poor soldier who gets a rifle shoved in his hand and sent to a field? Please tell me you agree with this in the comments. Adrian's first shift is about to start, and he is selecting banned records from the radio station's library. Now, let's be clear here. It's not Adrian bringing in his own tunes. He's selecting from the station's shelves. If what he's selecting is supposed to be banned, why does the station keep them? If I were the boss, I would have had them thrown out. After Adrian's first shift, he is cheered by his fellow DJs. But these guys don't try and help out when that little dig hawk unnecessarily critiques him. This pattern gets repeated after the bar brawl that happens at their hangout, Jimmy Wah's. The other DJs do physically help Adrian and the Vietnamese guy who is Cronauer's love interest brother, Quan, after a pair of massive, bigoted soldiers assault them. But they aren't there to take any blame when Dickinson singles out AC for starting the brawl. What do you guys think of that? Now also, when Jimmy Wah's bar blows up and Cronauer tries to report the incident on air, he gets suspended and Lieutenant Steve Huck does the show and bombs. Well, Lieutenant Steve. This has created one of the greatest memes of Good Morning Vietnam, and as a clapback to anyone who thinks they're funny, but they are not. When discussing the field interviews that Adrian would be doing, whoever Dickinson is talking to, Dickinson's calling him sir, but the edit suggests he's talking to Hal, who's actually his lackey. Dickinson's arranging a pass so he can go into enemy territory. Who is he actually talking to? Now, when they do go into the field, an explosion takes out the Jeep that Adrian and his assistant Garlic were driving, and they hide out in the jungle. Quan then rescues them But when they get back to the base, Nickerson asks who Twan is, and then informs Adrian that Twan is a VC terrorist with several links to several bombings, including the one that took out Jimmy Was. If that's the case, why wasn't he arrested when they got off the helicopter after being arrested? Did you see this anomaly? Now, just before the final scene, Cronauer plays softball with his new Vietnamese mates. Now, they've never really seen softball or baseball, yet the quirky little Vietnamese guy, Wilkie, somehow seemed to know the size and hardness of a real baseball. How did he know this? There's a bunch of ungoogleable questions that you can answer and discuss in the comments section below. Please do. Now, for your next rabbit hole, we go back to Season 1, Episode 1 of a long-running dramedy that just happens to be about another war.
Here's your next rabbit hole. There's unanswered questions about films and TV shows. Please answer in the comments section below. Like, subscribe, and let that notification bell toll. Here's your next rabbit hole.